Developer Fat Shark recently took over the reins of the Bionic Commando Rearmed franchise, after its previous developer Grin tanked in sales regarding the remake of Bionic Commando and also of Wanted Weapons of Fate. Does Fat Shark have the capability to continue the legacy that Grin started? Before I explain my experience to you, as a disclaimer I should first state that I haven't played the first Bionic Commando game, nor have I played the first Bionic Commando Rearmed installment, but I believe that there is credibility to this ignorance. For instance, I don't benefit from the nostalgia factor that this game may or may not have. If there were any illusions or mentions about the first installment of the franchise, I wouldn't be able to pick up on them. However, just because I haven't played the first Bionic Commando doesn't mean that I should suffer the same mechanics that other people have endured in the past, especially regarding the controversial decision to add the ability to jump. I love jumping. It makes getting good grappling positions easier, it's possible to dodge bullets, and it's something I can relate to, having played other platformers in the past. If there are any naysayers out there that disagree with me, I say this: screw you. You obviously haven't read the achievement list, which provides points to anyone that doesn't jump. There's also a difficulty that disables jumping, meaning that from the very start of the game it's possible to not propel yourself off the ground with your two legs. Not jumping isn't the only illusion this game makes. There are also more subtle hints that refer to an important event in America's history, the Cold War. The very introduction of the game makes allusions to the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs incident. Most noticeable is the antagonist, who seems to look strangely familiar to a prominent political figure of both yesterday's and today's world. The actual storyline doesn't parallel to the Cold War as much as it provides comic relief during intermissions before boss fights or completing levels, at least in my opinion. It was either hit or miss for me, but reading Nathan Rad Spencer's overly machismo quips provided an almost consistent amount of chuckles throughout the playthrough. And what a long playthrough it was. The mission to cut off Castro's finger was much more enjoyable on a difficult setting. On hard difficulty, it took the span of a week to get this game done, not including the challenge levels, of which there are a total of 24. Requiring great skill, sweat, and maybe even tears to accomplish, the challenge levels also took a big chunk of my time to beat. The hard difficulty encouraged me to seek out the collectibles that buff my armaments. Some more versatile than others, but the game doesn't force you to use specific weapons. There's a pretty large variety of tools that allows you to dispatch yellows and their yellowism ideals in creative and painful ways. There's health regeneration for the newbie, speed modifications for the speedrunner, a damage buff for the Big Bang aficionado. Bottom line, if there's a certain style of play that you like, chances are this game will be able to accommodate them. To be fair, Rearmed 2 doesn't really accommodate the necessity of descending. Even though through most of the game you're ascending on rooftops and tree canopies, the later levels often have you falling down to reach the end, which is problematic because it's hard to see where you're supposed to land. Oftentimes I found myself landing in water or on some spikes at the beginning of my playthrough. There's a learning curve to using the grapple arm, but without the complexity of the grapple, it would be much easier to do speedruns, meaning that not much would separate the great from the not so great. Glitches do exist, but are infrequent, nor are they interfering. Boss patterns are simplistic and easy to learn, sometimes dragging on in some cases. It's possible to not take a scratch in a scuffle with an adversary, but they won't take damage in some cases until they actually allow you to hurt them. It also seems like some of the sounds were missing as well when referring to boss battles. Even with these mistakes, the polish still shines true even with these tiny tarnishes. With an almost allegorical story, rad gameplay, and the tad price of $15, it'd be a bad decision not to download this sequel.